Greetings and welcome to Pickled Watermelon Rinds, a guilty pleasure podcast featuring Antie Joan and Ontie, providing our zesty and marginally mature take on current events, pop culture, and trends. Now we invite you to sit back, relax, and enjoy.
Well, hi, Antie Joan.
Hi, Auntie.
How's it going?
Good. How about you?
Oh, just fine, thanks.
You're welcome.
I had a freaking chipmunk try to get in the goddamn house today.
A chipmunk?
Yeah, at my front storm door, which I love. I don't know if I've talked about it before. If I have, tough getting it again. My storm door was a surprise to me when I bought the house because I bought the house in cooler temperatures, just the cusp of winter, and didn't realize. So come spring, I looked at the storm door and I said, I bet you in my rant about the previous people leaving a bunch of stuff here and not thinking it was their responsibility to clear it out, and I did get money for it during the closing, but I think just told everybody, whatever's here, get it out. I don't want anything that they let. So I thought maybe I threw out the screen for it or they took it away, whether they gave it away to somebody or whatever. So I was like, oh no, now I'm not going to have nice air coming through my front storm door. And so then I was like, well, it looks like it opened. So let me open it and I'll just open it just a little bit so I get some air, but no, bugs are going to get in. But anyway, so I go to open it and the screen is attached to the glass. It's phenomenal. It rolls down and you have a full screen. You have a full screen. And then you roll it back up, and then it's glass. It's freaking amazing. So anyway, I had it down so that the screen was in at that point, but there's like a little gap at the very bottom of the door, where the top glass comes down and the lower glass just sits. And twice I had to chase away the stupid chipmunk because he was getting in between those two things and like scratching at the door. The first time it happened, I'm like, where's that coming from? And I looked over and Killian's in bed and I'm like, well, where he always is. So I was like, well, what else and I looked over and there's a chipmunk. And I'm like, get the hell out of here. And it took off. And maybe 10 minutes later, it came back and started doing that again. I'm like, no, get the hell out of here. And I went outside. I was stomping around and I took Killian out there. And I was like, if I got to park Killian in this, my breezeway for a little bit to scare this chipmunk away, I'll do that. Yeah, I don't know what that was about. Never before. Almost 5 years here.
Wow.
Never before. Bizarro. But anyway, that was my little thing today. That was my big wildlife sighting today, was the chipmunk. Big fat chipmunk.
Well, speaking of wildlife sightings, I saw one of my Sandy friends, not Sandy B, and not the Sandy who passed away last year, but this was another Sandy who used to be my hairdresser. She lives over in Niwot, and she sent me a video of a bear just walking across their neighbor's lawn across the street and came over and started sniffing around their fence and stuff. Yeah.
I mean,
I'm glad.
It's fun sighting, but once you get your video, you really should be doing whatever you can to get them away.
Yeah.
But I'll tell you, banging pots for me made the mama and the cub go up the tree in Netherland, and that's where they parked it for the entire day until it was dusk.
Oh.
And then they finally left. But yes, they did not leave. They just looked at me like, what the hell? And then went up a big tree, and I'm like, go away! You're supposed to go when I do that. And it was like, no. And even when they were up in the tree, I banged a little bit and they were just like, we're comfortable now. Sorry.
Well, they were probably scared to death.
And I was like, okay. Because I called the wildlife people just to say,
what do they know?
I'm like, she's not doing anything wrong. I just know she probably shouldn't get used to hanging out here. I don't want her to feel comfortable here. They're like, get the hose and spray her with the hose. And I'm like, I'm not doing that.
Oh.
I'm not doing, first of all, what if she's like, that's not okay
I like
with
that.
me. I'm like, no, I'm not going to agitate her. I told you she's not bothering me. It's just, I know she should meander now. And she's hanging out.
Well, it's kind of like they're getting so frequent down here these days that It used to be, you turn on the news and there's a bear sighting and they get wildlife or whatever involved and they tranquilize it and then they give it 3 ticks. And
Yeah.
after the third or second time, then they euthanize them or murder them is what they do. But now it almost seems like people are saying, yeah, well, big deal. It's just another day in paradise.
That's right. But Auntie Joan and I did something fun this past Sunday. We went and did a workshop called Pour Your Own Epoxy. How did we find this, you ask? Facebook.
We got to stay off Facebook.
We got to stay off of Facebook. It was a 2-hour class at a brewery in Boulder called Sanita's Brewery. It might be called Brewing Company. I don't know. I didn't pay that much attention to it.
It's over by Earl's Sauce Shop, in case you're wondering.
Yeah, because I'm sure everybody knows where that is.
Well, a lot of people do.
Sure. Yes, it was great location. I liked the venue. I could see going back to that brewery just to chill out and hang out. The beer wasn't that great. I'm not going to lie. I asked for a Weissen and I expected it to be like a wheat beer and it was dark. Didn't taste bad. It just wasn't what I was expecting. So that was kind of a little disappointing for me. But yeah, oh well, what are you going to do? And you had a beer too, right? Or no?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it was a ginger.
Oh, that's right. The ginger beer.
Yeah.
That's right.
But it wasn't ginger beer like ginger ale. It was an actual beer.
Right. Ginger beer is different than ginger ale.
Yeah, but don't a lot of people get ginger beer thinking it's ginger ale?
Well, if they do, they're not being kind of silly because it's not. Ginger beer is alcoholic. It's not very high in alcohol content, but ginger beer is alcoholic.
Then how come I was starting to get a little tipsy?
Well, as we talked about,
I don't get out much.
You don't drink very much, so
yeah.
and like I said, this was a flavored ginger beer, though, wasn't it? It had something else in it.
Yeah, I'm trying to remember. Orange? Was it orange or something? It was good.
The alcohol content could have been a bit higher in that. When you buy the ginger beer in like the liquor stores and things like that, or even in the grocery stores, some sell in the grocery stores because the alcohol content is so low. The groceries, even before we were able to get alcohol in our grocery stores, they could sell ginger beer because it was so low.
That's probably why I thought it was more like ginger ale.
Yeah. But yeah, that's what you make Moscow mules with.
Oh, that's what I make Moscow mules with.
Correct. Okay. Correct. So next time you have your Moscow mule, you'll know that ginger beer is involved. A traditional, because they got multiple flavors now and all that crap, but a traditional Moscow mule is made with ginger beer.
Huh.
Yeah, and they had a little taco hut, and I got a sweet potato taco, and that was quite good. The chips and salsa, I liked it, but I like salsa verde. Auntie Joan didn't necessarily care for it because she doesn't really like salsa verde. So, but there weren't many options on salsa, at least not that I saw on their little computer screen, but I didn't. Maybe there was a scroll bar I missed because I would have probably gotten a red one if that was available. The other one I saw was a pineapple something, and I'm like, no, I don't want that.
It didn't stop me from chomping
That wasn't
down
your
on
favorite.
that verde. No.
Yeah.
But when you're hungry,
Yes. And our wonderful instructor was adorbs. His name was Darren. This company is from Wisconsin, folks. They do traveling workshops. They give you 2 pieces of wood in a plastic tub, and then you're going to pour your own epoxy. We made a charcuterie board. Both of us got it with handles. You can get it without for the same price. There was no price differential for that. He was very conscientious about making sure everybody understood what they needed to do and really went in depth on the safety of how to work with epoxy safely, what to look out for that would cause everybody to be concerned. If you get it on your hands, he has special wipes for that and things like that. We didn't. They give you gloves, so I don't know how people get it on their hands, but I guess people do. Because I did hear somebody say, "Oh, we're out of wipes over here," or whatever, and I was just like, "Oh my God."
Well,
did you not use your gloves?
I did get some on.
You did?
On my oxygen tubing.
You did?
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
That's because you took it off. So it must have dripped onto towards the floor.
Yep.
Yeah. Got it. Yeah, but he was very knowledgeable. It was only his second month doing this. which I thought was impressive for a 25-year-old. And it was very well, he communicated very well, very polished, very patient, answered a million questions, it felt like. Lots of them were repeat questions, unfortunately. It was a very big group that we had. There were I thought somewhere between 40 and 50. Maybe it was more than that. I don't know, but it was a lot of freaking people in this place. We were in the brewery section where they actually brew the beers versus out in where people are drinking their beers. We were in a separate section. So it was like warehousey looking. Don't know if they have air conditioning back there, but if they did not turn it up sufficiently enough to accommodate the number of people that were back there. And we were quite on top of each other, in my opinion. These were 6-foot folding tables, the standard ones that you've seen, but they were multiples put together in a really long row. And then they had people on both sides. I don't know if you people are used to those 6-foot folding tables, but they're not super wide. Antie Joan and I sat across from each other, and our bins were touching. And then they also had these vice grippy kind of things, like holding the wood in place. So when you poured your epoxy, the wood didn't move around. And those protruded out from the bins as well. So it made it even more difficult to be very close to your bin while you're working. It was much easier to stand up and pour your epoxy and do that than it was to sit down and try and do it. But they were also encouraging us to, get a beer and all that. And I'm like, and put it where? When the person next to me, who I didn't know, was pouring her or working with her epoxy. So they give you the epoxy in 2 clear colored solo cups. The beer cups that we all used for kegs back in the day. And because you get to pick 2 colors, so 1 color in each cup. When you're not working with your epoxy, you need to put those down somewhere. Well, thankfully, she was one of the first people to go get her epoxy, and Antie Joan and I were one of the last people to get our epoxy. So by the time I got mine, but she kept it on the table because oblivious. I had to say, like, are you finished? And she's like, oh yeah, let me get that out of your way. I'm like, yeah, because I literally had nowhere to put mine down.
And we had them take away the one next to me because nobody was there.
Right.
So she could have put it there too.
She could have. I don't know. She's rubbed me the wrong way quite a bit. So I kind of was trying to speak to her as minimally as possible.
There were a couple people that kind of,
didn't great. Oh yeah, there was some dude that kept just going back. He just would not settle. He just kept going back and forth, back and forth, back and forth. I'm like, go figure out where you need to be and stop this. But anyway, so like I said, the instructor, can't say enough about him. Thought he was fantastic, from the Wisconsin. So once we poured our epoxy, they now I assume let them cure overnight so they get hard enough where he can actually stack the bins, at least overnight. And then they take them back to Wisconsin for the finishing process. So then they ship you your final product. He said anywhere from 6 to 8 weeks, but another woman just randomly was telling us that she had done this before and her last project took 10 weeks to receive. So we're not quite sure when we're going to see these things. I don't really know. But our entire interaction on our projects themselves was a whopping 10 minutes from start to finish. Because you get your epoxy, you put your color into it, and you mix for 3 minutes. Then you 4 minutes. Then you pour your epoxy, you wait 3 minutes, any bubbles that rise up, only in the middle part, not anything on the wood is fine, but in the middle part where only your epoxy is, you take a butane torch and basically blast them away. And then any bubbles that come up after that are supposedly okay because it's after the initial 3-minute wait time. I don't know. That's what we were told. And then you take a tongue depressor and you drag your tongue depressor from your light color to your dark color across so that you're getting kind of a swirl action that doesn't last. You do that up to 3 times. Everybody did more, including myself, but that was the instruction to do it. No, try and keep it down to 3 swipes. The woman next to me went crazy with hers. I don't know how
she didn't stop.
She didn't stop. Yeah, she kept futzing with it, and he basically told us, "Don't do that." But like I said, we all did it more than he said anyway, so whatever. We'll see how it comes out. But in the end, everybody's looked like little tortoise shells. You know how tortoise shells have that like ovalness, oval, multiple
Like
ovals.
cells, they're like, yeah.
Everybody's look like that. So how are
Yeah.
these are going to come out? I'm not 100% sure, but we'll find out in somewhere between 6 to 10 weeks. I don't
So
know.
I did take pictures of our finished
Yes.
pourings. So we'll put that out for them, right? So they can see the.
Honestly, I didn't even pay attention to what time we left and all that. Now, we were, like I said, one of the last people to get our epoxy because a line was ridiculously long with all these people, and everybody had questions for him. Did we? No. Did everybody else? But probably because we were so close to where he was, we heard every single freaking question and answer that was asked and answered. And like I said, lots of them were repeat questions, and he was so patient and very kind to every single person. I would never have the patience for that. Not a chance. I'd be like, I already told you what that was. Figure it out. Go ask her. I already told her. Go ask that person. But anywho, it could have been done a little bit more efficiently. It was a little disappointing to me that our full interaction was a whole 10 minutes. I thought it would be a little bit more involved than that, although I can't figure out how.
I wonder if some of the people kept doing their tongue depressor dragging for longer because they thought 3 times, that can't be it. I didn't come here just for 5 minutes of pouring this stuff in. But
I think you're right, because it was, once we got our epoxy, like I said, we were done in 10 minutes. Auntie Joan took some pictures and we left.
Yeah, so most of the time was waiting.
That was the biggest part of our time was definitely waiting. The instruction was like, probably a good, I would say 20, 25 minutes. And then the waiting to get the epoxy was a long
And then he had to
time.
stir it and he had to make the epoxy then too.
Right.
So that was about 20 minutes, I think.
Right.
Yeah.
Right.
But yeah, I mean, there was at least one woman. I think there were a couple who kept asking him another question and this question and that question. It's like theirs was going to have to be perfect.
Yes.
And then the colors that you choose, he went through and listed them all and told you this is going to cure darker, this is going to cure like this. And people would come up, what is this? And I'm guilty. Because I asked about the chameleon, please remind me what happens when it cures? How is it going to look? Yeah.
So the chameleon was cool. Neither of us used it, but it was a cool product. So the chameleon basically would take on the second color of what you did, but in kind of an iridescent kind of way. So it was almost not necessarily rainbow, but not necessarily kaleidoscopy, but iridescent. And it kind of pulled that in. So I thought that would have been cool, but I had already decided on my colors. And I'm like, if I start questioning myself at this point, I'll go through them all again and have to make a real decision. And I just said, nope, sticking to what I originally picked. But you're right. A lot of people asked about the colors again and all that. And he went through everything. And I'm just like, oh my God.
Oh, and how would this one look with that one?
Yes. Have you ever mixed these two together? He's like, yeah. I mean, no, he like I said, he was very sweet, very kind. I would have said, yeah, and left it at that. But he was, oh, I have. And you know what you'll see is, and he just kept repeating and repeating and repeating. And I just felt bad for him that he had to go through that. For me, this is a one and done. I am interested in seeing how the product comes out. I don't have a great need to do a Pour Your Own Epoxy again. It was something different, something fun. Auntie Joan, of course, and I always have fun when we get together. We had a lovely meal afterwards. There was a slumber party after the fact.
Oh, yeah, you got to watch the Hollywood House Lift with Jeff Lewis and Fortune Feimster. Yeah.
Yes. And Antie Joan's cat didn't let me pet him this time, but he did at least touch my fingers and sniffed my fingers. So we're getting there. We're making slow progress there. And Beast got to see his Auntie Joan, which he just adores. So it was still a fun night, fun thing to do, but I don't think I would do it again.
The only thing that would get me to do it again is that burled edge one. That was more expensive. Those just look really cool. But I mean, I think I think you could probably do it yourself, you
That's
know?
kind of what I was hoping to get out of this class. Like, how can I pour my own epoxy
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
down the road and all that? And I don't think I got enough. Although he went into very good detail about the epoxy and all that stuff, I just don't think I would not feel confident going and using epoxy
Mm-hmm.
myself based on solely his instruction,
Oh, right, right.
right? Like,
Yeah, yeah.
I
I'll
would
watch
have to
some more
watch YouTube.
YouTubes.
Yep. I
Yeah.
would have to watch a bunch of YouTube videos and really get comfortable and do it step by step with them, pausing and all that before I'd feel super comfortable. But unfortunately, that is what I was hoping to get out of that class is this something a skill that I can take back to my own house and do this for something that I just
Probably.
have a
Yeah. It
whim
would have
about.
been good if you could get up and watch him actually
Mixing the
stir in
epoxy.
and yeah, mix
Yeah.
it up.
But he was making such big batches, we wouldn't
Yeah, yeah.
do that. And that's my fault for not even thinking about that aspect of it. It's like he's not mixing just for one for me, one for you. He's mixing a
Mm-hmm.
big batch and putting the cups in and taking them out kind of thing. And I was like, oh, that makes more sense. So I didn't really get out of it what I was hoping.
Well, I think just mixing the epoxy is no big deal.
I'm
Well,
very leery about chemicals in general.
Larry used to use it all the time with his airplanes and stuff.
Mm-hmm.
And it's just, you mix it here, you put this much in, you put that much in, you stir it up and
Yeah.
then where they get the tints from, the colors from, and just pour that in and it's done.
Mm-hmm. I would have to watch YouTube videos. You make it
Oh
sound
yeah. Oh
easy,
yeah.
like he was making it seem easy, and
Yeah.
I'm not comfortable with that kind of stuff.
No,
So,
Larry would use epoxy on everything, where even like with wood, and I was always taught that you use wood glue for wood or even Elmer's glue
mm-hmm.
because that makes a bond that it won't split.
Right.
But he would use epoxy for everything.
Oh,
Yeah.
okay.
Matter of fact, there's probably some in his airplane room right now because I haven't cleaned it out yet.
Well, you're waiting for his son to come
All right.
over.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yes, but you got to get
Yeah.
that scheduled.
Well, I got to get the stuff moved back into my sewing room.
Oh,
But then I got to get the floor washed first.
gotcha. Gotcha. Uh-huh. Uh-huh. And then you had some stuff that you wanted to chat about.
Yeah, I had my 1 year recall with my pulmonologist yesterday.
Mm-hmm.
And this is for my pulmonary hypertension.
Mm-hmm.
I actually took my shower early. I actually had like 15, 20 minutes to sit and wait before I left.
Mm-hmm.
I get to, they tell you be here at 4:15
Mm-hmm.
for your 4:30 appointment. So, oh my gosh, Arapahoe Road is a mess. They're
With the
going
construction.
both ways now. Yeah, yeah. And right as you get to the hospital
Mm-hmm.
is where they close down the right lane and everybody and at 4:30, 4 o'clock, it's crazy.
Yeah.
But anyway, I get there a little before 4:15
Mm-hmm.
and I go in there and they said, girl comes up, young woman comes up, said, hi, can I help you? Yes, I have a 4:30 appointment with Dr. Blah, blah, blah. Oh, okay, just a minute, please. And then she turns around and I thought, oh my gosh, did he not come in today? She looks at the thing and she says, well, he's not at this office anymore. And then it hit me. That's right. They told me he was going to be at a different office the next time I came in. Now, I go every year. I should have written it down somewhere,
Mm-hmm.
but I didn't. And he's over at the Lafayette building now. So, you could probably make it because it's only just 4:15. I'm thinking, I don't know, now with Arapahoe Road. I said, could you call and tell them? Yes, okay, we'll do that. So I get in the car and I head over there. The receptionist says, yes, I'm going to check with him and make sure and see if he'll still see you because it was like 4:42 when I got there.
Mm-hmm.
So she comes back and she says, yes, he'll see you. So then the assistant or whatever, every other year they do this walk test to see, how, if you still need the oxygen, if it's gotten any better, if it's gotten any worse. So we did that. And then I go back into the office and then he comes in like right away and he says, well, your things are just pretty stable, pretty much normal. Nothing's really changed. And I wouldn't change anything. And just talking a little bit back and forth. And he says, now, I don't know if you know this or if anyone's told you, but I won't be at this office next time you come in for your yearly.
Uh-huh.
And I think, oh, great. Where's he going now? And he says, yes, I've decided to retire.
Oh.
And you are my last appointment.
Oh,
His very, very, very last appointment.
okay.
I felt honored.
Okay.
It kind of just warmed the cockles of my heart.
Okay.
So we chatted about that a little bit. And then I got out and I left. And I get in my car and I'm thinking, you know what? He didn't even listen to my lungs. Yeah. Where did he get this information? I guess maybe from the walk thing. And he checks my CPAP usage and how that shows up if I'm not breathing or anything. But yeah.
Did he say who your new doctor is going to be?
No, he said next year you'll choose which one you want. Yeah, there'll be several partners there that I can choose from. So I'll wait, see who's there.
So will you go back to the Lafayette facility or would you go back to the hospital?
Well, they're really not in the hospital. They're at one of the buildings next to it. But I don't know, whoever I decide to use will decide where I go. So I don't mind the Lafayette place. It's a little further, but yeah, it's all right. I used to go there for other doctors. So then after that, we talked about Facebook, and I had this ad come up on Facebook about this snuggler recliner at American Furniture Warehouse. And I've been wanting to get a new recliner. And I thought, oh, that looks just like what I'm wanting. It's a little wider and it's not leather, it's fabric type thing. So I thought maybe I should just go ahead and order it. No, you know what? You ought to at least try it out and see how it feels. So I drive over to American Warehouse then after my doctor's appointment, and I go in there and I find the chair and I go back, I recline it, and it felt really good, like a big hug.
Aw.
And then I went to get up and I couldn't figure out how to get the foot thing down. I couldn't get that foot thing all the way down. And then it's a rocker recliner. So then I try to rock and oh my gosh, it was so hard to get out of it. And then to have the foot thing not wanting to stay down. So I finally got some help. I had her come over and show me how to put the foot thing down. And you just push it down. And she says, well, sometimes you have to stand up and kind of kick it back to close it.
Fail.
Yeah. I said, okay, well, I need to think about it. And she says, well, have you ever thought about the electric ones? And I said, yeah, I have, but they just take too long to close. You don't just get up. You got to press the button for it to close, to come down. Yeah.
So you
'Cause that's
want
what
a
I have
manual one now? You want a manual one next time?
Well, I'm not finished yet.
But it sounds
So,
like that's what you were just saying.
that's what I wanted because
Okay.
when I wanted to get up, I wanted to get up. I didn't want to have to sit back and press a button and wait and wait and wait for the feet to come down. She says, there's one over there that's electric and maybe it's what you wouldn't mind. So I go over and I look at it and I try it and it was good. It wasn't a rocker, so I could get out of it. It's got a little phone charger thing in the arm. So I went ahead and ordered it.
Good.
So they're going to deliver it. Well, I asked them to deliver it on Tuesday, but now I think I want it coming next Friday. So
What are you doing with the old one?
I'm going to have somebody come and haul it away.
They will. Oh, no, they won't.
No, they won't.
There's a company that they're affiliated with that would come get it.
Yeah, there's locals here that'll do it too.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
Yeah.
As a matter of fact, I saw one and it sounds like they'll not only move and haul stuff away, but they'll also move stuff in the house. So I'm thinking maybe I should have them move the stuff from into the sewing room that got moved out. So,
Well, that's exciting. Something new.
I've been wanting a new recliner for quite a while.
And does it lift you out like your current one does?
No, and I didn't want that.
Okay.
I never use it.
Well, that's fun.
So it was a big day yesterday. Then I swung by Casco in Longmont, where gas was $2.77.
$2.55
I thought it was going to
in
be.
Louisville or Superior. Sorry,
Well, I looked and they said it was $2.79.
it went up that much in
4 cents.
$2.79 in Superior. I paid $2.55 on Monday.
Oh, $2.55.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Interesting. Well,
But I also wanted the chipotle salad, which when I ordered it to be delivered last week, they didn't have it. So I wanted that. So I had to go inside and get my chipotle salad too. So it was a big trip.
Gotcha. Not Chipotle, the restaurant, Chipotle salad that you get inside Costco in the bag.
Yeah, yeah,
Yeah, yeah.
yeah.
Got it.
With their tasty dressing.
Mm-hmm.
Right after we announced that we were taking a summer break, we had signed up to attend a Paint Your Pets event in Lakewood, Colorado.
Mm-hmm.
And this was actually quite well run.
Yes.
They had our little stations set up. We had our brushes, we had our paints all out on a palette. They actually have you send a picture in and then they trace it and put it on the canvas for you. So at least you've got someplace to start. You don't just go there with a picture to look at and then try to like draw a dog like a kindergartner. I'm trying to remember the name of the woman who led the event.
I don't remember.
Okay.
Sorry.
There weren't that many at this one. There were maybe 10, 11 people.
Yeah.
And we had plenty of room, although they didn't space us out as much as they could have today.
Exactly. I agree. I think they should have spaced us out. For how few there were of us,
Yeah.
they should have spaced us out a bit better than that. But
Yeah, I guess they say they have a big crew and they have a lot of tables there. So they must have pretty good turnout. And usually they don't do paint your pets. Usually they have all these other things that they do. But so anyway, this young woman who I don't know, maybe we'll find out her name and post it, but she stands up on a little stage and demonstrates how to do it and gives us tips and comes around and talks to us and offers advice and stuff. So I thought it was really pretty well done. And like when we painted the bowls, for the empty bowls thing, we need to start bringing our own brushes because I have problems with brushes that most of these places use. And when I've looked at things on YouTube and I see people painting and stuff like that, they use the same brushes, but they're more experienced and they know how to handle them. It's like painters who cut in around the ceilings and the baseboards. Real professional painters can do it, just they know what they're doing. They don't need any tape or masking or any of that stuff. But I think I need to start bringing my own brushes with me. But I thought it was fun, and it was nice to have something to walk out with.
yes.
Unlike the Pour Your Own Epoxy, they don't have to send it away and get it laminated or anything, and
No.
we don't have to spend $20 to have it shipped.
Right.
And she was very good. Our instructor was very good.
I agree. She was painting her own pet.
Yeah.
So that's what she was doing. But giving us information along the way, like start here and these, you might want to shade doing something like this. And because I've been to many of the instructor driven paint classes, it's usually sip and paint. They go by many different names, but it's everybody painting the same thing. We're painting whatever the instructor is painting. So this is the first time that I've gone that it was the instructor was actually, everybody was painting their own pet. So there was no commonality between what we were doing. There were basic techniques that she was showing us. But of course, everybody's picture was going to look different because dogs are different colors, dogs are different sizes, dogs have different features, just like people. And so I thought that was interesting. And it was weird to me because in the sip and paint, when everybody's painting their own stuff, it's a bit more lively. There's more chatter going on because in between the instruction, you do yours, you're like, oh, this looks terrible. Somebody's like, oh, no, it looks okay. And, there's more, but everybody was so intense in this one and quiet. I mean, my jokes were not landing a whole lot, which was sad to me. I was on a stage, man. I was doing my thing and I was getting barely any feedback. Everybody was so focused because they were, and to be fair, it's your pet. You want it to come out nice.
That's right. That's right.
The other stuff is you're probably not putting in a spare room in a closet somewhere until you find it again years later and throw it out. It's very rare that you get something out of one of those that you can just say, oh, I'm going to hang this on my wall. Though I did in the spare bedroom of my old house. But when I moved, they all went in the garbage.
Did they really?
Yes. They were not masterpieces by any stretch. I don't have a spare bedroom here. They sure as shit weren't going in my bedroom.
Well, you've got the loft. The loft could be
The loft
your
doesn't
art
have
gallery.
walls. It doesn't have walls. It has the...
You can... Yeah.
No,
You can
absolutely not.
screw them to the wood. There.
Absolutely not. They are not worthy of making a hole in the wood in this house. No. So I thought that was interesting. I said, I think this was like the 5th one I've done. Yeah, it was just very different than what I experienced in the past. You still can get a glass of wine, which my friend and I did. Antie Joan didn't partake with us. It was just different. But I thought, like you said, the instructor was very good. I did think the amount of money we paid was appropriate to what we did.
Yeah.
You could have stayed longer. You can go back with your painting and do touch-ups. It's all included in the one price you paid. Of course, you want to paint something different. That's a different fee, of course. I like the place. It was in Belmar in Lakewood, on Alaska.
That's a nice area.
And the only reason I remember Alaska is because I was just there yesterday at the Best Buy getting rid of my TV. Final freaking gone. $30. I had to pay the $30, but I did it. Little diversion here, but I got rid of it because I couldn't take it anymore in my
You
garage.
did that and didn't take mine?
Take your what?
TV.
Yeah. I needed to get mine out of my house.
Oh, so Best Buy will still take them, but you have to pay.
Right. TVs are the only thing they charge for. All your other electronics are free. I know we're getting off topic a little bit, but that's how I knew the street it was on again. Because I was like, I'm like, how do I know where I am? I'm like, oh my God, we were right down the street. At Paint Your Pet. The actual name of the place is called Painting with a Twist, because they do this standard, everybody paints the same thing as well. But you can just go in and just bring your own canvas, buy a canvas from them and paint what you want to paint. Like you don't have to be instructor led if you're good enough, which I am definitely not.
They have like wooden things you can paint too,
Yes.
Yeah. Oh,
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's a cool place. I really liked it. But I did like the place we'd paint your bowls too. I thought that was a cool place.
And you know what? I need to go back and look and see if they have any of the glass stuff. Remember there was that one?
You had asked for an adult class for the glass, the stained glass kind of stuff. I enjoyed it. I don't want to do that super often because, again, Killian's picture. Now, to be fair, not all the pictures are back up on my wall since the stuff I've been having done here. But it's right now sitting under the stairs, just sitting there. Because I can't decide. As a matter of fact, today, when I came upstairs and looked at the agenda, I'm like, oh yeah, we're going to talk about Paint Your Pet. And I'm like, yeah, maybe I'll put it underneath my calendar up here for a while until I get sick of it and just toss it because nobody wants it. I mean, what else am I going to do with it? But it was a fun afternoon. I enjoyed it. I thought we had a good time all together. It was just, like I said, a little less chatty than it normally is for the ones I've done in the past, but it made sense. I didn't get it right at the time. At first, I'm like, geez, gosh, can people hear me? Because I'm on a roll. Nothing.
Well, I think I zoned out because I was so focused because it had to be done right.
Yours came out really nice. Mine was not very good, but that's okay.
I liked your friends. She went out of the box.
Yes.
With the colors.
Yeah, she did very avant-garde.
Yeah, and I thought it looked good.
Yes. I liked it as well. She painted her dog turquoise. I don't know if it's turquoise, but some kind of like green blue, wasn't it?
I don't remember exactly. It was just, there was some bluish to it, but I don't remember exactly. You should get a picture of it.
Yeah, I should. Because I have a picture of mine held up next to Killian, so you can see how bad I did. And then you have to send me a picture of yours. I'll get one of my friends.
And then the lady who sat across from me, she did her cat who had lost its eye. And the way she did it, I told her, and I don't know if she thought I was just blowing smoke. It would look so good, like on mugs, and it wasn't cartoonish, but it was simplistic. It was cool. I liked it. Yeah.
There was another woman there who had a dog who literally had a heart-shaped white spot on their forehead.
Yeah.
I thought she just did that at first because I saw her painting first, and I'm like, oh, that's cute. Or does your dog actually have it? And then I looked down and saw the picture of the dog, and the dog really had a heart-shaped white spot on their head, and it was so cute. So cute.
Oh, they're so lucky to get those special ones.
Right? If you're in the Lakewood area, Painting with a Twist, they've got classes every weekend. A lot of them are everybody painting the same thing, but they do have Paint Your Pet 3 times a month. Yeah, check them out. It was a fun time.
Yeah, it was. Good times. Good times.
Good times. Auntie Joan's got a couple things she's been watching.
I happened to tune in on 60 Minutes a couple weeks ago because the topic really interested me to begin with. It was about AI and them doing a lot of work in Kenya, getting a lot of their work done in Kenya. And it was very eye-opening for me, and it kind of left me disturbed afterwards. Now, of course, they're shipping these jobs to Kenya because they can get much cheaper labor. And the work that these people are doing is kind of labor intensive, but it doesn't take a rocket scientist to do them. Now, a lot of the people that they do hire, though, have degrees and such. Anyway, so what this was about what they call labelers. And for AI to know what it's looking at, it needs the information stored to it. They'll go in, they'll like look at a picture, and then they'll select like this is a person. They'll put a marquee or frame around it and say this is a person. And then they'll go, oh, this is a bed. And then they'll circle something and say, this is a kitchen sink, whatever. And I never knew that's what they had to do to get AI. I thought there was just like some algorithm or something, and it could look at this and it could just pull in all the information it needed and could decide for itself. Well, it turns out they have to hire these people to do a lot of this. And they sat down with some of these people and they were talking about what the job actually entailed. This is what disturbed me the most. These people would sit for 8 hours a day and they would look at tortures. They would look at dismembered bodies. They would look at child abuse, porn. One guy said he was a young man and he said he had normal sex life before he started doing this. And after looking at all this porn or child abuse 8 hours a day for as long as he did, he's got no desire at all. Dismembered bodies, decapitated. And you've got people sitting there looking at this stuff 8 hours a day. They say they have psychological support, but it turns out it's like one person for however many hundreds of people they do this. So it doesn't sound like they're really getting help that they need either after viewing all this stuff. And you just think about I can't stand to look at one of those things. They're trying to change the work laws and stuff in Kenya, but then they say, well, if the country does that, these companies will just ship it and go somewhere else. They'll go to the Philippines or they'll go to wherever. It's quite a mess we've gotten into here.
It was a very interesting story, eye-opening, like you said. I did not realize that's the way that they get the information for AI either. Makes sense after seeing it. Yeah, it's quite disturbing. I do feel for these poor people. They do have a class action suit pending. So they work for a consulting agency, and that consulting agency is hired by the likes of Facebook, and it's a terrible business model for the workers, for sure. I'm sure it's very cost effective for the people who don't have to see the aftermath that these poor souls have to go through. If you're just looking at numbers, I'm sure it's very attractive. And the amount of money that the likes of Facebook or Meta would be paying the consulting agencies, a very small fraction of that is what the actual employees receive. It's very sad to exploit these poor people who they have one of the highest unemployment rates. I think they said it was at 62% or something like that.
Yeah, pretty high.
It's pretty high. So poor people have degrees and can't do anything with them. And then opportunities come up and they hear AI and they're like, well, this is, cutting edge technology. This is kind of cool. And then they're subjected to these horrific scenes that they have to not only watch, but they have to dissect it and label everything that they're seeing. So, it's just, I can't even imagine what these poor people have gone through. And hopefully they win this class action suit. I believe the consulting firm has moved out of Kenya. Like they're not supporting Kenya anymore. But I'm sure there'll be another one that'll pop up and exploit them. And then the consulting firm didn't disappear. They just are no longer working in Kenya.
They'll go somewhere else.
Exactly.
Where they can do it to other people who aren't going to complain for a while.
Right. One, I know this is a very serious subject and very sad. But I do have one lighthearted thing to point out, that Leslie Stahl is a descendant of Vulcans. She has Vulcan ears, and how nobody's talking about this is just beside me.
I didn't notice it.
They're practically pointed. I mean, and they're big. And I know your ears keep growing as you get older. Mine are going to be ginormous if I'm anything like my father's side of the family, which it probably will be. Yes, very Vulcan. I was like, oh, she should. And she tucks her hair behind her ear. She should not do that.
How did I not see that? But then I didn't see the grease stain on James Carville's shirt either that she caught.
Yeah. I couldn't take my eyes off of her ears. It's driving me crazy. But this story actually was from 2024. At least that's what it said on the YouTube link you sent me. So it must have been a repeat that you saw. But still, poignant today. I would have loved for them to end that with an update as to how the class action suit worked out for the employees or the consultants, I guess. But regardless.
I remember them saying that the consulting firms would charge like $10.25 an hour, and then the employees would get $2 an hour.
Right.
You know?
So the consulting firms were making ridiculous amounts of money, and these poor people who were subjected to these crazy things that they had to watch and focus in on and work with get pittance.
You can sit there and say, not you personally, but the general you can sit there and say, well, yeah, but it's Kenya and $2 is, that's probably a good salary. It's not, because at least one of the people had said, or a couple of the people had said that it's just not enough to pay for everything.
Right.
And they do, like you said, these college graduates, they see these jobs in AI and they think, oh, good, I can get my foot in the door at a growing career. And then they sit down and deal with that stuff.
Yeah. And they weren't told what they were going to be looking at prior. They just said that you were going to be labeling images to enhance the AI's memory and recall and all that kind of stuff. So again, they were all excited about it until they got in there and saw what they were actually working on. Very, very sad. I don't like to see anybody being exploited, and that's clearly taking advantage of a situation and misleading, and the mental damage that they have done to these poor people and continue to do elsewhere, just not in Kenya, is just terrible. Just terrible.
And then going through these consulting agencies so that they're like Meta name isn't directly attached to all this stuff. So they can say, oh, I didn't know anything. I didn't know that's what they were doing. Pisses me off.
Indeed.
So on another note, I don't know if I've ever talked about this before, but when I go to bed at night, I like to listen to books on audio. And I've heard a lot about this new movie coming out that was originated by Stephen King called The Life of Chuck. So I see it's on Audible. So I go ahead and I sign up for it. So I'm lying in bed and I turn this on and it starts with, it's like the end of the world's coming and the internet is dying. And then I started going through this whole thing in my mind. Oh my gosh. I mean, I love the internet. I love my Google. I love my YouTube. But I started thinking, oh my gosh, could you imagine if the internet went away? What would that do to the world? All these people who are influencers.
To the young people.
To the I would say middle-aged and down.
Right. Agreed.
Yeah.
Because we would be just fine because we lived without the freaking internet.
I know we did.
It's way more convenient, don't get me wrong, but we know how to work without one. We can do simple math and give somebody change at a grocery store.
Yeah.
These kids can't do any of that.
We can find other ways to entertain ourselves.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Go outside, go figure. I mean, it'd be different because we also have gotten used to this. But at least we know a world where it wasn't.
And
we could get out the typewriters and be able to use a typewriter if we had to.
Yeah.
Oh, I don't want to, but I could do it.
I still have Larry's old Selectric typewriter, so there you go.
Mean? The only thing that I think would be different in my world was I would have to get a landline again because I don't have a landline. So other than that, I could do it. Wouldn't love it, but I could do it.
No, but it would be kind of nice, wouldn't it? All that noise going on in the world.
I've been dying to do a week unplugged, and I really, 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 really want to do that, but I have to wait until everything's done at my house. which seems like that's going to be never. But because I have to communicate with them, I have no choice. So once that's done, I'm going to tell all of my friends and everything. Like, the only thing I would allow is phone calls to my cell phone, because like I said, I don't have a landline. But I'm not going to use other than a phone call. There'll be no texting. No anything for a fucking week. I will read books. I'll hang out. I'll take Killian for walks. We'll do that kind of stuff. But I want to 100% unplug. I'm on Facebook and Instagram way too much, and it's bugging the shit out of me. It's the first thing. I get up, I make my coffee, I go sit on the couch, drink my coffee, and I'm on Facebook and Instagram. Even if I'm listening to a podcast, I'm farting around on those. And half the time, I don't even hear what's going on in the podcast. I mean, if it's not a super interesting guest, I don't care. But I don't, because I've got too much going on. I don't like it. I got to go for a week and just see how it goes.
My gosh, they'd have to build libraries.
I have one right up the street.
I know, but they'd have to build more, because all the information that's out there, people are going to need to get to it.
They're going to have to build bigger ones.
Yeah.
Because like you said, there's so much information now that we used to be able to just type in and get knowledge of. Without that, the library, because the libraries have been relying on technology as well. Yeah. So
I'd like to see these youngsters try to find a book through the card catalog.
Oh, I don't. I just go up to the library and say, I'm looking for this, and they point me in the right direction. I haven't been to a card catalog since I was probably in grammar school.
Oh my gosh.
I'll make the librarians do it.
So you would have trouble too. So it's those of us 65 and older.
Yeah. Yeah. I wouldn't have trouble, because there's usually a librarian, and they're usually not doing it. No offense, but they're usually just sitting there. So they don't have a whole lot going on. So I figure I'm giving them work. I'm actually helping them. But the grocery stores, could you imagine without a scanner? I used to have to type in all that by on the keypad. Yep.
Well, now the scanners are connected. Well, yeah, that goes through the,
It sure does.
Yeah, it's all connected, isn't it?
It's all connected. It would be it'd be an old new world.
Oh, what people would have to do is have the dial-up modems and use the phone lines to dial in their computers. But then what would they go to?
That's right. If the internet's down, what's the point?
Yeah.
So, yeah. But all the DMV stuff, the only people that would thrive would be the government, because they are so far behind on technology. They do use it. They do use it. But they would be the easiest ones to roll back, because they barely are touching the surface of what the internet can do for them.
Back in the early 70s, the early 1970s, when I first started at IBM, we had this system called the APAR system. And what it was is people who had bought IBM programs, if they had an issue, they would contact their IBM representative and they would put in a change request or whatever. So that would have to go into this APAR system. And that was done across the phone lines. So that was part of our job as a data entry operator, is we would have to get on the phone with their modem or whatever it was and dial into that system. And sometimes we would be on that phone for an hour trying to get just a dial tone, because it was so busy with all these people calling in with their changes and stuff. So that's,
Yep. Well, the one good thing about it would be is that AI would not be taking over at that point. So people would have jobs again. There'd be more job opportunities for physical people, human beings.
But then all these influencers and stuff, what would they do?
Well, they'd have to actually get a real job. Hump it like the rest of us did back in the day, working at convenience stores or fast food restaurants or clothing department. All the brick and mortars would be full again.
Yeah.
The internet's taken away so many brick and mortars at this point that all those malls would be full again.
They'd have to build more malls or new malls, because they've already
just
torn down.
Repurpose the ones they already freaking have that are just sitting out there. It would be, like I said, old new world, and it would be interesting.
A whole old world.
Yep. Very interesting.
Yeah, in a way, it does sound kind of good. Just not having all that chatter.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh, what would we do without the Kardashians?
Oh my gosh, what would we do without people putting in their 2 cents that they would never say to a direct human
Yeah.
being's face, but
Yeah.
have no problem posting in comments on different
Uh-huh.
things?
Uh-huh.
People are actually going to have to talk to each other again.
And
Yeah.
kids wouldn't have to worry about doing something silly and having it live on forever,
Not just kids, adults.
True.
Because honestly, I mean, I've never been a big proponent of this, and I'm kind of agitated by some of it. When somebody's doing something in their personal life, however wrong it may be, that it actually could impact their work.
Yeah.
I do not agree with that at all. It's like I'm two different. When I was working, I was two different people. There was me at home and there was me at work. And if I did something stupid when I was off having fun with my friends or whatever, there should be no repercussions work-wise associated with that. They two do not meet.
Well, that kind of depends. I mean, if you're a person that takes the moral high ground publicly, and then you go off and do something immoral, and it's out there for everyone, then I think it should impact you. You got to walk your walk.
But why would it? It's if you don't portray that in a business setting.
Well, like if you're like a minister and you're out there and you're against pedophilia, and then it turns out that, oh yeah, here he is, and look what he's doing. He's a pedophile.
But most of that is within the parish. It's not, that is part of he's doing that on the job. Unfortunately, that particular example, they live there, that is their job. You know what I mean?
I agree with you. Like what people do on their own time is their own business. And it does kind of piss me off when some silly things people do causes them to lose their job.
Like now you just walk on eggs. Like couldn't be happier being retired. Having to deal with that. I mean, it was bad enough the tail end of when I was working. Every single thing was scrutinized and misunderstood or taken out of context or whatever. And I'm just like, oh my God, it's getting to the point where you can't say anything. Without getting in, without offending somebody in some way. I'm like, oh my God, people, please, enough. So that would be one of the benefits of getting rid of the internet, in my opinion, is people can actually still be able to be, because there was a guy that never went to any single happy hour we ever had for the company, with the company. He wouldn't do it. He left. Any gathering outside, he was like, work is work, home is home. When work day's over, I go home. You know what I mean? It's like keeping them separate. I wasn't that bad. I did enjoy going out for happy hours and things like that. It was getting so much harder because there was so much pressure. I mean, I give him kudos that he never caved. Not once. Not ever. And he drank. I mean, it wasn't like it was because he didn't drink or anything like that. It had nothing to do with that. He's just like, work is work, home is home, and that's that. And I'm like, that's actually not, especially in this day and age, that's a great way to look at it. Yeah. Keep yourself safe. I'm interested. I had seen some clips of this show coming out, The Life of Chuck. So it was I was on the fence whether I was going to be interested in it or not. But now after hearing what you've started listening to from the audiobooks perspective, it might be more interesting than I thought it was going to be.
I don't know. The basic theme, I think, is that every life matters. Yeah. And how one life can ripple through and has.
So it's a wonderful life.
Yeah. Or Evelyn, the story of Evelyn.
No.
Well, they're both the same. I mean, it's both the same. Oh, see.
It's just.
I loved that show.
God.
I sure did.
I know. I'm sorry. I should keep my mouth shut.
But we talked about some other thing too, some other show or some other life that was kind of that way, how one life can impact.
It's a wonderful life.
You never know. Well, no, there was some other one.
Okay.
Yeah. And you just never know, what kind of impact you're going to have.
It's very true.
But I think I know what kind of impact you and I'll have with our podcast.
0. And with that, Auntie Joan, anything else for our listener today?
No, I think I'm talked out.
All right, then. Well, that wraps it for yet another wonderful Pickled Watermelon Rinds episode. This is Auntie signing off.
And Antie Joan saying, bye-bye now.
We thank you for listening, and remember, when life eats away at your core, make pickled watermelon rinds.